Okay, my headphones are not working. Hold on. Still not working.
Hey, Paul.
Hi, Jenn. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm much better now that things are starting to open up. It makes it the world a much better place for beer people.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sorry,
right.
guys. I can't hear you, so just hold on a sec.
Okay.
Sorry, Paul. We're having some technical issues here.
Look like you need a beer.
He'll get there, or a martini, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Have you started traveling again?
I just did.
Oh, good.
And
Good.
it felt way too good.
Yeah.
To be honest, yes. Yeah, especially living in New York. It was really
Paul,
like
is this how you run your business?
What's that?
I think you said, is this how you run your business?
Hey, well, we kind of do whatever it takes, Harry, and we blame
right.
technical difficulties
All right.
on no matter what the problem is, it's because of a technical difficulty.
There you go.
You know?
Well, hello, Paul. Sorry about that.
No
We're
worries.
with Paul Rene of I think our sound is working.
I hear you fine.
Okay. We're a little new to the equipment game, but we have Paul from Geloso here, and want to kind of to get a mid-year tune-up.
Yeah. So, well, to Harry's point, Paul, how have you been? We haven't really spoken since January at our summit, right? And a whole lot has
that's
changed
correct.
since then.
Yeah, a whole lot's changed. As I said, we're out of jail here in New York, so we get to move around and go back to favorite watering holes, get to travel some. So that's been really fun, particularly for me, who really did that my entire career, the travel, get to see distributors. And as a smaller company, it's vital to people like us to get in front of people because we're not plug and play as some people are. So we need to, do the little things. So that's kind of where we're getting back to those fundamentals. But no, the mid-year looks very good for us so far. So we're very, very happy. And we came out of COVID pretty well. And our trends, both shipments, distributor sales, and IRI are very, very positive through the first 6 months. So there's obviously is some movement in the FMB category, but so far so good. We've been pretty fortunate.
Good. So even with the return of the on-premise, because you guys, you're the third largest FMB supplier in the off-premise, right? And that's part of what fueled like your 15th or 16th year of growth last year. So even this year with the return to the on-premise, you're still seeing those strong trends?
Yes, we are. As a matter of fact, in the latest IRI, we were, depending if you look at the higher elk section, we classify higher elk as north of 7%. We're actually the number 2 supplier now.
Did you pass Boston or you passed Mike's?
That's 7% ahead.
Okay, got it.
7% or higher. So it's a higher elk play because we don't have a lower elk play yet.
Gotcha.
We're looking at some things. So we kind of separate it because we think it's a different consumer to some degree. So challenging but rewarding year so far with all the variances that went with our industry in terms of packaging and shortages and distributor hello meetings that are all virtual, and they're not my strengths. I don't prefer that.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get back to it. But so are you guys still doing well with supply too? Because I know you have capacity in Canada, but you're also bringing on some contract capacity in the States. How's that going?
That's going very, very well. I think we're very fortunate in the way, we've got some great leadership at the top of our company. We're family owned. A lot of people don't realize that, but we're just family owned. And our owner and leader, I guess, President Aldo Geloso, is very proactive in every aspect of the business. So we, early on, when we saw the packaging shortages, we put 45 days on the floor production, as well as just to allow for any supply chain hiccups. And it really helped our business, quite frankly. So it was really,
I would imagine so.
A good move on his part. It's a lot of money on the floor, however, but it really helped us when people were
money's cheap, Paul.
We had supply. What's that?
Money is the only thing that's cheap right now.
That's about it. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Everything else.
I wish I had something to borrow money for. because
Yeah.
there's just the interest rates are so low. I wish I had something, but I don't.
It's
I don't want to
interesting to
buy a
see
house or something.
where they plan to take that. And of course, beer prices keep going up. So I guess that's a good thing, at least for distributors. I think it's kind of a slippery slope, though, when you look at the different categories that are evolving now in terms of what it does to the competitive climate for the consumer, especially in some of the single sets, convenience stores, and even grocery.
So how's that new Clubtail Seltzer doing? So speaking of, other consumers and all these new areas.
Well, we ended up doing a very soft launch with Clubtails because we had a packaging supply and a capacity challenge. So we were not going to give up core business to get into the fray with the heavyweights of the seltzer world. So we kind of had a soft launch, and we were very late because of that, because again, our core brands grew at a very high clip if you see what happened over the last 24 months for us. So supply of those were our priorities. So we did a soft launch. It's going okay. It's something that we have to do a lot of work on because now the seltzer world is so crowded with the heavyweights. We have pockets doing very well, and we have pockets where we're, kind of trying to figure it out.
Let's see. Well, I'd let somebody else get a word in edgewise here if they want to take a crack at you.
Yeah,
Paul.
I'm curious. I'm curious on what is growing now in your portfolio compared to what was going last year, or is it the same? Is your mix
Primarily the
changed?
same. We've had some flavor changes and flavor mixes, and we don't try to dictate that. We have an awful lot of flavor profiles that we put out there, and they vary by market. We have some flavors that are top 3 in one market and an opposite top 3 in a different market. So we try not to.
And why is that, you think? I mean, it's not the demographics can be similar, right? And yet there's a weird.
Well, I tell you, Harry, you look at, we always study demographics, right? But cocktails really don't have a demo, and we pushed the cocktail part really hard. We are malt based, but we pushed cocktails from day one. So all our brands are Margarita, Sex on the Beach, Bahama, all those brands, but they resonate with people that are familiar with cocktail flavors. They're less seasonal than some other FMBs. And quite frankly, we see where they cross over demographically. We have markets that I would say were never a real priority in terms of expectation. It turned out to be really big markets for us, and only because we thought the demo was wrong. So our demos, when we look at different states like in North Carolina, Virginia, all the way to a Mississippi or Texas, very different, those demographics. So those are the things that we try now not to get too caught up in, but like I said, I guess what I look at the most and what I'm happiest about is every state's up for us right now, still, even the market we opened up 15 years ago. So we're not giving anything back. And we've spent a lot of time in the last 18 months on expansion. We've opened up just under 20 new states. So in the last 18 months, so we've been very busy in that regard. Basically now on expansion, we're only looking for a few states left. We got New England to fill out and basically Alaska and Hawaii. So everything else is either scheduled to be open, in the process of opening, or open. So that's often, that gives us a lot of daylight going forward because a lot of those are new markets. And the beauty is, I think that what we've been able to accomplish to date has given us credibility in those new states that as a smaller supplier is so vital to get time and attention from a wholesaler today.
Right. Absolutely. I'm curious, and when you're always thinking about new flavors, right? And how do you get the zeitgeist on what's going to be a hot flavor?
You look at flavor trends, we look at fruit trends, you look at different spirit trends, you try to blend everything and what's going on. Mango is very hot right now in a lot of areas. So we came out with a mango margarita. Didn't know what it was going to do. It hit pretty good for us.
Yeah.
But the challenge is, how do you manage it so you don't just replace or eat one of your own? So with all the activity you have on the shelf now, with all the influx of new brands and the continued onslaught of new seltzers, which some are very over-indexed in some locations because buyers, we had one chain that just went all in on seltzer, and now he just cut 50 SKUs. So it's kind of shaken out. And obviously the leaders are still leading and doing extremely well. So for a smaller company, we pick our battles, pick our fights where we can win. That's what I think is important for a smaller company. And our distributors appreciate that because they know they have intense pressure by some of the larger suppliers. So when we come in pretty laser focused on a few items, then we usually end up getting a pretty good run.
Right.
Well, hey, Paul, speaking of cutting SKUs, have y'all seen any opportunity with the big brewers pausing some of their higher ABV brands?
It's
like
funny.
The ice brands and things like that.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because we've gotten several calls from distributors, which is kind of neat that they think of you, but they're asking, what do you have? Do you have anything to replace that? So we are looking at some of those things right now. Our facility can do, we do beer, we do flavored malts, we do, we have spirit permit, wine permit, cider permit. So we are very diversified in terms of what we can produce. So we're looking at all those opportunities going forward. But yes, it's particularly interesting, but some of those brands are, areas where based on some of the cost and PTRs, there's a reason they did that. So you don't want to get caught into a game of liquid dunnage, as I call it.
And so you have the license, you can make whatever you want. Like you said, there's a lot of people getting into this category. Does it ever worry that there's a lot of people with zero experience in the beverage alcohol trade that are getting into this business? And they're like cowboys.
Yes, it does from an aspect to me. And now I'm going to date myself, Harry, but you could appreciate this because what I really try to bring, I think majority of suppliers are socially responsible and they're trying to be intelligent in how they go to the market and the right message and stuff. Yeah, there's some cowboys that are out there or that are coming, but I think at the end of the day, distributors want to do business with people that know how to do business in this industry, and they don't really need anybody. I mean, their coffers are full, their SKU list is full, and as I talked to one wholesaler a couple months ago, he says, Paul, he says, I just cut over 200 SKUs. And he said, I sold more and made more. I said, that's great because you didn't bring in mango yet. He goes, bitch. He says, I knew you were going to get me for something. I go, well, you got a bunch of holes now. So, I mean, that's the mentality, though, that I think is out there. And I think that's where you have to be intelligent as a supplier because it's going to become more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see suppliers aggressively cutting SKUs, and now you do. It just proves that COVID has changed everything. You see Molson Coors cutting 100 SKUs, and like Jordan and I talked about this yesterday or whenever it was. It's made so much more national news than anything else in the beer industry, and it's like all of a sudden people have come out and declared their love for hams and Ice House. And I'm like, where were you? Where have you been? Because nobody's been drinking those brands. And so, oh my God, they're discontinuing. Oh God. What are some of the other Ice House Slight? I mean, who cares? But
well,
some distributors, we're finding actually that a lot of distributors do care because if you're in, say, North or South Carolina, Ice House is a big brand.
Big brand.
So it's very regional. Getting back to that, Paul, it's so weird to me how regional our industry is. I think people, maybe if they come in from another country or maybe they're not in the industry, they come in, they think, oh, we have a brand for America. Well, America is about 25 different countries. Every city has its own. It's weird how
just got done having a meeting, and I said, some states are divided demographically and trend wise and flavor wise. It's just to your point. I mean, I think you have it within states now. It's not even the various states; it's within states. I mean, there's so many that are diversified, and we see it in our small portfolio. And I can't imagine when you get in the big brewers what they see.
I'll give you an example. Like Coors Light I want to say it has almost double the share in Dallas than it does in Houston. Why?
Why?
Why? I get it's closer to Denver, I guess, but it's just weird that every play, you can't just blanket everything.
No, and I think you have to be careful.
I wish we could.
Yeah, I do too. Make it much easier as a supplier. I think that's, for us, that's why we try to go into a market and really learn before we start throwing, any type of pitches, because every market's different. And, we did some markets before we had 24-ounce cans available. We're putting 16s in a 24-ounce can market. It didn't work so good.
Really?
The consumer wanted a big can.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, everybody wants to have a big can these days.
yeah, I mean, but you still, in the Carolinas, 16-ounce cans is still a huge item. So you have to adapt, I think, to what the market tells you, if you can figure it out. But the rate at which market flavor and packaging trends are changing, I've never seen it so quickly in my time.
Right.
It's changed so quickly.
The switch to cans was so dramatic, and I mean, it was already going on, but with Corona, it's just, it's crazy to me that Stone Brewing Company is being heralded as an innovator for putting a beer in a bottle. A seltzer in a bottle.
Yeah.
Their big innovation is to put seltzer in a brown bottle.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Maybe it's clear. Maybe it's a clear bottle.
It's clear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
any watch outs for us, Paul, out there on the ether that you're seeing? Or I know we've got the Delta variant knocking on our doors, and God dang it, I was just about to plan some trips, but what are you seeing anything out there that's a watch out?
What I'm hearing, and it depends on what you want to believe and what you don't. And I think as a supplier now, you just have to be very careful on, I think focus becomes more critical than ever, because there are so many variables that you're dealing with now, and which they weren't, let's face it, for many, many years, there weren't a lot of differences in our go-to-market strategies than there were whether you were a small brewer, a big brewer, a regional brewer. Go-to-market plans are very similar and in line. Not so much anymore. I think you really have to be a lot more focused, because the world can change. Mm-hmm. And I think for us, as I said earlier, I met with the owner. We went, we got some new things in the pipeline, but our core business was still growing and is still growing double digits on both Clubtails and bootleggers. So, the importance for us is to not lose sight of that while you start to chase other things, because if another COVID type situation hits and you get yourself over invested in something that's going to take a lot more work, you got to be very careful, I think, in how you approach your go-to market plans, as I call them.
So I have a follow-up to that. Has e-com become a bigger part of your business? I mean, it's not necessarily the type of brand that you would think would be so drizzly oriented, right? But has that increased for you guys at all?
Yeah, yes, it has. We're still such a small portion. You're 100% right, Jen. Very small portion, but yeah, we do well in those scenarios around the campuses, the universities, where there's some lakes and outdoor activities and stuff like that. Those are the things that where we do well in those pockets, but we're just getting into those now. We're kind of, I wouldn't say we're late. Our type of brands, we're not really on the forefront of that yet, but I do see it coming. If you're not watching it or involved in it, I think you're missing it. So we are, we're going to have a much bigger presence in 22 in e-commerce than we have right now. So.
And is that what level of e-commerce is that, from distributor to retailer, or just direct to consumer type?
That'll be both, depending on which state you're in, because some states you can go direct through the GoPuffs of the world or Drizzly or whatnot. So, we want to be in all of them, just like we want to be in every distributor in every state, right? Yeah. So
I know. Me too. I want everybody to read Beer Business Daily, whether they're in the beer business or not. I want them to pay. Yeah.
know?
Just please, just read it. I'll give it for free. Just read it.
Hey,
That's
nah,
how attention starved I am.
hey.
Jordan and I are like, no free.
I blame it on my mother.
Jen, I'm with Jen. There's nothing free in the world. I'm with
No.
her.
No free.
Nothing's free.
Especially right now. I mean, God, everything's so high.
Yeah.
Dog food is high. Everything's high.
Yeah.
And I'm sure your raw materials are through the roof. And like you said, you had 45 days of cans on the floor.
We had full product inventory, we ramped it up to 45 days because of, as soon as we heard of all the packaging challenges, we really heavied up our inventories, both full product on the floor. And we had so many orders that were coming in that were, no orders in the system, or I've got 3, but I need 5. Can I get 2 extra loads? And we were able to do that. Really helped our business, quite frankly. But some of that was shortages by other people.
Right.
So
Wow.
it was to our benefit. So
Yeah.
those are the things you can do when you're a smaller company. Sometimes you get a little bit of an edge on that kind of stuff.
Right. Well, good. Well, it's good catching up with you.
Great.
Jen or Jordan, do you have any follow-ups, or
I don't think so.
we try and keep these short and sweet? But yeah, I appreciate it, Paul. And you know what? I'm glad you guys are doing well. I like to see a good American company doing well, family owned, selling product the right way. Not
Well, we appreciate we appreciate you guys have helped us too with the little mentions we get. I always get the blurb at 6:30 in the morning. Harry mentioned you, and I'm going, okay. No, but we appreciate it. It's important to us that we continue to stay focused on what's going to make us a long-term success. So our ownership's convinced that it's only the right way to go. It's not about selling trailers, it's about building brands, as they say. So hopefully we'll continue to do so.
Well,
thanks
you
for
guys are a distributor favorite, because you don't ask for a lot, but you give a lot of value. And that's
Adding value.
Adding value. That's what Jen's big on, adding value.
I'm all about the adding value.
And someday I'm going to figure out this equipment. And I'm sorry I had to make you wait, Paul. A man of your stature having to wait while I dick around with wires is unacceptable.
No worries, Harry. No worries. Always a pleasure to talk to you guys.
Thank
All
you,
right, man.
Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Take care.
Cheers.
Yep, take care. Bye-bye.
Now, Sean, Jen,
Yeah.
is he off the call?
Yeah, I think so. Unless he went into some super special dark mode.
Super special. Dark.
He's
doubt that Paul Rene has the ability. Anyway, that was perfect. Perfect time, good, short, sweet. Yep. I wanted to just talk briefly while I have you on and Jordan here.
You both are fired. No, just you, Jen. You're fired. Yes.
You're both fired.
Yes.
You are taking over both their jobs.
They wanted to fire me in person.
Yes. Yeah, I wanted to bring you all the way in here, mic you up, and then fire you in person.
Sean, get a Zoom.
Yeah.
Record the sobs.
Be like Michael Scott and fire you as a joke. Yeah. You're fired, Jordan. I'm sorry to say. No, there was news and that I wanted to talk about. You know what? I need to start writing things down. Have you noticed that?
That's a good idea.
Have you noticed that, Jordan? That I've been a little forgetful?
What was the news? Was it the labeling, the BI stuff? Was it the New York vaccination pass? Was it the DTC stuff?
No. All that bores me.
Provi, we already talked about Provi. Governor Cuomo being a dick, he needs to just step down.
New York City?
No, but I did read something funny that now there's a new Cuomo variant of the virus, and it only affects young women and very old people. Makes young women uncomfortable and old people dead or something.
He does the hand to the face on everybody, he says. It's not just young women.
Right.
He did a slideshow.
Well, I'm glad he didn't try to cradle my face and give me a kiss, because I'm not sure how I would have reacted.
You're not sure, Harry.
I'm not sure if I would have met his kiss with a stronger kiss, or if I would have pulled away offended.
I mean, stronger kiss is the manly thing to do, I would say.
Of course it is. I'm glad you agree. But I like that he had, whatever you feel about Andrew Cuomo, he's got some balls just to say, I've broken the law, I've done this, and I'm not going anywhere. I mean, they're gonna have to pull that motherfucker out of his office.
Very mafioso of him. They're gonna have to sit him down in an Italian restaurant.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, you know what? I'm gonna take notes for tomorrow. We'll have a podcast. Tomorrow's Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just do our end of week just with us. Do we have anybody scheduled? No, just us. We have Tom Fox next week. Anyway, that's I'll remember whatever, and we'll just all talk about it tomorrow.
Why do I have the feeling that right after I get off this call, you're gonna call me right back?
No, because this is already we're gonna keep it short. But I think I'd like
Okay.
I want to talk about my little mule.
Your little mule?
My little mule. Isn't that the line?
A little friend?
Scarface? Let me introduce you to my little friend.
Little friend.
Oh, it's not little mule.
Yeah. What in the world?
Jesus, what is this?
I was
Scarface
is this
Quixote?
some, parody
Like
of Scarface, or what in the hell are you talking
I
about?
want to introduce you to my little mule.
I didn't know if you were doing Nacho Libre or Scarface.
right,
Or what.
exactly. I think that should be a shirt, though. We should, if we're making merch, I think let me introduce you to my little mule as a contender for sure.
And it always comes back to poop.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything about poop. I said
Jen.
mule.
Jen, you said poop.
Mule. Everybody would be just scratching their head walking by. What the hell does that mean?
Right?
Oh,
A mule
Oh.
is, that is poop. Whatever. There's nothing else a mule is good for. It doesn't even
Okay.
breed. Did you know that mules are sterile?
really? I didn't know
Wait,
that.
the
So how
stork
can a
brings
mule
them?
have another mule, you might ask? How do mules mate if they're all sterile? Do you know the answer to that question?
I don't.
They divide.
Because mules are not a species. Mules are an interspecies between horse and donkey, but they are not able to have relations. They can have relations. They just don't make other mules. They just don't get pregnant.
Are
I
there
guess.
male and female mules? Or just,
Yes.
Okay.
But they're both sterile, I think. Anyway, I love talking like I know. I'm sure I'll get fact checked out the ass on this, and people will say that's not true. Well, let's talk about segments. And Sean's here with us. You chime in too. Segments for the podcast.
I feel like we've done
Now,
this.
Jen, you're right. And Jen's getting all right. Look, so everybody
it to
sits
be
behind
raw.
it. So Sean, just to describe, she's sitting like on a bar stool with her leg up and her mic on the leg.
The desk is behind you, right, Jen?
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
light. I have
She
the
just
same
doesn't want
issue.
people to see her desk, I guess, or her.
No, I
office.
want people to see this.
This. Yeah.
Also, a deer,
And she's holding
a deer
up.
horn that I bought in Maine at
You bought that?
Yeah,
Huh.
I did. I know.
I have lots of deer horns I could have given you, but Jen,
But you didn't.
that mic
did you,
is
Harry?
like 5 pounds. If you
No.
took the base off of it, maybe you could. Should we get her a stand like we have?
No.
Is that just too cool for you?
I'll get a lap desk like you have, Harry. Okay. And then, yeah.
A lap
Is that what
desk.
you consider a desk, Harry?
And
Is that a
look-
desk?
They're all glued down.
Oh.
Well, I'm glad we had this talk.
Okay.
I noticed when Sean walked in at Hay, he's like, "Oh, I didn't realize I was walking onto the set of Packers or Hoarders.com."
Orders.
But in my defense, this is a lot of this is my son's stuff that I'm storing for him because I have so much room. All right, Jen. Well, thanks for drinking beer, and we'll be on tomorrow, and I'll have a whole list of things to talk about.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, take care.
All right.